Le prochain orateur est Nestor, il nous vient d'Espagne. Sûrement que vous connaissez l'entreprise Sucuri, donc il travaille en fait toujours pour Sucuri, mais maintenant Sucuri a été racheté par GoDaddy, donc voilà, en fait c'est un joli petit micmac que vous n'hésiterez pas à aller lui demander de ce qu'il en est. J'ai pas tous les détails, il vous dira ça en précision. Il va faire le talk en anglais et donc il va nous parler de The Strange Case of Malicious Favicons. Voilà. Et donc ça sera en anglais. Si vous avez des questions en français, on essaiera de les traduire. Et si vous avez des questions en anglais, ben on lui les posera directement. Voilà. Donc on applaudit Nestor, s'il vous plaît.
Hi. S'il vous plaît. Thank you very much. This is a talk about cybersecurity. We know that cybersecurity could be a little bit arid, a little bit strange for non-introduced people. But so I will try to do it in the easiest way. But normally you should have some development background to understand fully. But anyway, I can explain any part. Okay, so this is about being hacked, right? Imagine that you just wake up in the morning and your website just looks like this. You're being hacked. So this is our work in Sucuri and in GoDaddy website security. What we deal with is these kind of cases. So after the worst scenario happens, and we are something like the cleanup team. So the team that comes after something bad happened to understand what happened, and to clean up and to organize the clues and to do some sort of report, right? So yeah, could you imagine, for example, just get all the things just encrypted, so you can't do anything with your data or something like that. You have to pay or whatever. So this is one of the most common scenario in our job. So we also prefer to call us as the blue team, but some people just say, you are like the CSI team, so something like that, right? Because we go into the crime scene and catalogate and so on. So before anything, I have to share with you some concepts in order to put all of you in the same page. So this is one of my favorite slides. I normally share in all my presentations. This guy is from a not very common company, Cisco. I don't know if you know. This is the CEO of the Cisco, and says something like, there are two types of companies, those that have been hacked and those who don't yet know that they have been hacked. So this could be self-explanatory to see how our world is, right? It's full of these kind of cases. I know that cybersecurity creates a little bit of cyber stress. We don't know exactly how to deal with internet, that thing I want to use. So yeah, malware, attachment in emails, phishing, data breaches, and so on. So it's a little bit difficult. I know it's even difficult for me, which is my field of expertise. So also I don't know if you are familiar with this kind of words. So there are people here that have been hacked. Raise the hand. Raise the hand who has been hacked anytime. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I have been as well. So yeah, one of the things I normally want to share with you guys is that a hacker is not the same as cyber terrorist. Okay, so a hacker is that kind of people that is a curious person who goes beyond limits and conventions. So every time you drink coffee in the morning because you are sleepy, or in the night because you want to be ready for study a little bit or something like that, you drink a Red Bull, you are hacking yourself. This is biohacking. So being a hacker is not bad. But being a computer hacker, a bad guy, aligned with to enrich himself, is what we are talking about in this talk. So please just make this differentiation in your mind. It's not the same one with the other. So it's important also to understand how a WordPress site is infected. it only happens because there is a vulnerability. Then there is someone that discovered this vulnerability and makes a software to exploit it. Then after that, the exploit is used to inject something. The injection could be just final code, spam, defacing, or whatever. Or in the worst scenario, it could be a backdoor. The backdoor makes the attackers to get access to the website even if the vulnerability has been flagged. Okay, so the backdoor is the worst scenario. After the backdoor is injected, then attackers can inject spam, deface, convert your site in a bot node, insert code, or change anything. So, what do you think is the target in a WordPress site? Any voluntary? Is something interesting in a WordPress site that could be valuable for an attacker?
Customer data.
Customer data, for example. What more?
Spread information.
Spread information, yeah, could be. So use it as a platform to claiming, political claiming or whatever. Yeah, it could be. Also, it's interesting the content, right? The content of the website, which is could be in the database, or which could be as a media, because we are selling, I don't know, plugins, or we are selling photographs or whatever. So the content and the database are important. As you say, for example, spread information or whatever, it's using the infrastructure of the Wordpress or the site is also one of the targets. Use the website, or not the website, but the physical infrastructure, but also the website as a botnet. I mean, it's a part of a big attack or something like that. Is also one of the most common targets. And reputation. Reputation is also important. Okay, so some of you, I don't know if you have faced the same issue. Sometimes you will get into the market and you will find that there are a lot of companies there, and you need to rank better than your competitors, right? So some people are available to get higher and undermine the reputation of your competitors. So reputation is also a very valuable coin here. Some facts that I would like to share with you guys, because this is important. Site hacking almost never is client-oriented. I mean, doesn't mind what is your WordPress site about. They just need to hack your site and then sell information or whatever, or get information just to like a step in the full attack scenario, right? Also, it's important to know that almost always it's just because deficit monitoring and maintenance. So this is super mind-blowing to all the people. It's not because there is a virus in the air. It's just because the monitoring and the maintenance of the website is a little bit deficient. Also, this is funny because some people ask me, and I would like to explain. SSL certificate is not a hacking shield. What it means? Oh, I have an SSL certificate, so I am protected. No. What happens is that the information just communicating from you and the server is secure. So if there is a bad guy, a cyber terrorist, communicating with your server, it will be in a secure way. That's all. Okay, so yeah, it protects, but not protects anti-hack. It's not an anti-hacking shield. Patches and security, this is important. Almost always appear after an exploit is discovered. So if there is an update, it's because probably someone is exploiting a vulnerability. So that's why the cybersecurity guys normally insist a lot of in installing the updates as soon as possible. And always I say a human being fails, and rarem humanum est in Latin. So that's why security never is and will never 100% effective. Okay, we are always under the attackers or behind them. So what kind of measures we normally have in cybersecurity for infected sites? There are two kinds. There are more, but the most important are reactive ones, which happens when something bad already happened is pain mitigation. Something bad happens, so we have to contain the damage. The incident response is the part of the cybersecurity responsive for this. And there are proactive measures that happens before anything bad happens, okay? So it's risk mitigation. As I said, 100% efficient security doesn't exist. So it's risk mitigation, is percentage of risk what we are working in, okay? Analysis and monitoring is the part of the cybersecurity in charge of this. We are not going to work, we are not going to extend more in this part. Maybe at the end I will just share with you some tips. But we're gonna work in the incident response, which is the part of this talk. Incident response is the effort of quickly identify an attack, minimize its effects, contain the damage, and remediate. So this is coming from the VMware.com page. So in this talk, what I'm going to show you is a case I've been working in some time ago. And what I want to share with you is how I did to understand what happened and how I discovered the origin of the infection, right? So it's not a cybersecurity per se talk. It's more something like, hey, let's show how my job looks like, okay? So let me introduce you the case A186, the crime scene, right? This is the case. I put this name as a joke, an internal joke. Maybe one day I can explain you, but yeah, this is the case I naming like that. So let's see how the crime scene looks like. So this side, I don't know if you more or less see it. As you can see, there are, I don't know if I can make it bigger. No, don't worry. But more or less you understand, right? Okay, so there is, if you have worked with a WordPress, in development of WordPress, you can see that there is a BP admin and BP includes and the BP content, which are the canonical folders of a website, right? There are some source back here that could be just backups. And there is a disabled, I don't mind, but this inside, there's a Sucuri quarantine, there's another thing. So what we can spot is that there are some folders with random names, right? And there is a zip also with a random name as well. This, based on my experience, is spam, right? So you have to believe me. What's the scenario then? Spammed site. This is what I found, right? So the CEO has been affected, Google rank removed. So could you imagine, for those people that have been working in CEO, all the work that is behind this is just vanished. And what is important in this case is that we have cleaned it, but got a rapid reinfection. So why is this? It's creating some kind of frustration. This is what looks like, or this is an example of what looks like. It's in this case, I have obfuscated all the information because I have to protect the information about our customers. But this is an example, keeping in mind that this is about designer agency. And suddenly you get in the contact form this buy Viagra now thing. This is pretty common, so just let's take this as an example. So after that, this happens. I don't know if you have faced this. Google just indexed your website, so discover the spam and put this super fancy red page in front of. So yeah, all your audience get the thing, right? And your site got this super fancy tag as well in the results of the Google. This site may be hacked. So yeah, this had happened in this case. So the facts: this website hasn't WAF. WAF is a Web Application Firewall. We will talk about that later. Our tools clean the spam, the malware in plugins and root folder. Okay, so everything seemed to be okay. Without any forensic analysis, the probable vector infection was set to an outdated plugin. It's super normal that happens, okay? So if you have plugins in your website, the most plugin you install, the most probably, the more open you are for infection. This is what we say in, in the art of war from Sun Tzu, you say you have to reduce the number of entrants to your fortress, right? So having more plugins is installing more doors in your fortress. But there is something interesting. An integrity analysis of the core files appears to show that there is something modified. I don't know if you are familiar with integrity analysis. Are you? Not so much, right? Okay, so WordPress.org is where we can download the WordPress, okay? But also we can request to them the MD5 hashes, which means that this is the blueprint or something like a signal of what the contents of this of the files, the core files, index.php, or not the BP content is not important, but the BP includes content, BP admin contents, and all the core files of WordPress. And this signature is only for that file. If any of those files is modified, the signature change. So we have to compare the signature of all the files with the official one coming from WordPress.org. As you can see here in the top, there's API WordPress.org core checksums version 592. So this is the last one. Okay. So this is the checksums of the signatures of all the core files and folders. So if you compare our customer checksums with these ones, we found that there is one of the files that has been modified. In this case, I highlighted it because just to help you guys. So I opened that file. If you are more or less familiar with WordPress development, you will see that this is the index.php file, the regular one. But there is something in the top. I don't know if it's readable. Yeah, more or less, right? There's something in the top, something like a tag, right? So this is in the right, the index.php file coming from WordPress.org, and the other one is the file from the customer. So you can see that there is something there, right? It's a difference. Okay, so let's dig a little bit. I recovered the index.php file that had been cleaned, and I found this include with a add symbol in the beginning, which means that let's include something, but if this file is not present, doesn't matter. Don't show any error. Okay. So let's see which file is inserted or included in this case. There is like a favicon somewhere, in this case inside a theme, that says favicon with a random symbols .echo. So normally the scanners doesn't scan echo IQO's files. Do you know what's an echo, right? And a favicon, right? Okay, so normally scanners doesn't looks at this file. Now yes, but before, when this happened, no. So just I just used a PHP interactive shell to reveal what was in that obfuscated path, and this is what I got. Just using echo and the content of the include if you want to try and you find a case like that. So toolbed using so far interactive PHP console, just doing PHP -n, and PHP.NET, which is a very interesting tool if you want to deobfuscate any strange code in PHP. So let's go back to this favicon. I'm gonna find it and open it. If you are not used to this kind of files, you will see this and say, okay, maybe this is an ICO, I don't know. But normally, the characters inside of an ICO file normally are more irregular. I mean, they are like Chinese, not like this. And if you are used to this, you will find that this is a base 64 code. So using a PHP, I will find this code. Let me show a little bit about this code. This is the code inside of the ICO. As you can see in the top, there is a runtime semaphore, which means something that we will talk about later. But it's something like, okay, so maybe this is running at this moment. So if it is running, don't run again. There is a code, a base 64 code inside, but it's a dirty one. If you try to decode it, the result is gonna have nonsense. But there is a translate key. So using this function here, I can get the base 64 and decode it using this. I mean, in the meantime, there has been some other steps, but I've simplified it to you. Okay, so after that, I got a base 64 code. But the funny thing here is that the real backdoor wasn't any of this, was in the comment down. So normally scans avoid comments. So that's why this also was overlooked. In this case, it was very funny because in the first 32 chars was an MD5 hash, which was used to encrypt the real backdoor, which was after that. So I don't want to bother you too much, but this was the whole process to unveil what happened before here. So let me just talk about the structure very quick. You have here in the top the semaphore, the runtime semaphore, a random function name that is just for decoding, dirty base 64 code, translation key, and a random function, and then the MD5 code here, 32 chars of them, and then the backdoor. The tool that I have used so far, base64 decode.org, if you want to check, it's very funny. You can just get any text, any image, any whatever, just translate it in base64. A beautifier, because sometimes the code is not that easy to read. Some of the decryptor I use, the decode O and PHP, I have talked before. And also there was, I just share with you these scanners I normally use to check these kind of things. So site check is just for the front end. Keep in mind that the site check is just only taking a snapshot of your website and analyze what is the user receiving, okay? VirusTotal is a very nice tool to check if your website is present in any blog list out there. And web page test will do a very useful waterfall graphic of what is loaded in our site. Okay, so after several other steps of decoding, what I got at the end was this. If you see in the top, it says something like, okay, if you are Google, Facebook, Yahoo, Bing, Baidu, Yandex, return false. If you are a Yandex, Baidu's spider, and so on, some other spiders and bots, return false. Other than that, connect to that website, to that user, to that file, PHP file, and inside of an IP that I have obfuscated. Okay, there's an IP here. So what can we deduce from this? That this Favicon was in fact a backdoor to connect somewhere else out there with IP and a specific PHP file and do some stuff. So what I can say is that this Favicon makes your website a bot node from a botnet. So do you know what is a botnet? No? Okay, so let me explain. Could you imagine something like this? And there we can put the this is the moment of the hoodie, the black hoodie. So could you imagine that there is, for example, a hacker out there with a lot of screens, and he's managing a lot of sites, hacked sites, and they are all connected. they have all the list of the sites hacked, and they can just click on them and say, okay, so send a spam to this one, so use this to attack to other ones in a DDoS attack, and I don't like this, just remove all the things, and I don't, for example, this, oh, okay, this has a very huge list of users, let's gather all the users and the emails and so on, and do something like that, or check against leaked passwords out there. So yeah, we can do anything. Oh, in this case, this bad guy could do anything. So a botnet, you can see that there is a center control in the middle, and there is a lot of bot nodes around that could do anything. So in this case, yeah, let me jump to this one first. In this case, a favicon can make then that your site is a bot node. It has a zero-day ability. I mean, we can just schedule a day specifically to do anything in those bot nodes. You can do a lot of things, as I mentioned to you, spam included, which was this case. And do you remember the semaphore, the runtime semaphore in the beginning? It makes me the ability to track any infected site as well. So you can use a botnet dashboard, as I put in this picture. So more or less, botnet. Okay. So the main important question here. Oh, sorry. The main important question is, okay, but if you clean it, why got reinfected? So the surprise was this one. Checking the cron job. Do you know what is the cron job? The cron job is, especially in Linux environment, there is a system that gives us the ability to schedule things, right? The cron tab, sorry, the cron tab. So inside the cron tab, there is a lot of cron jobs. One of the cron jobs was this one. So if you normally, if you are used to develop things, yeah, as you can see here, all the asterisks means that it has to be executed every minute. So what we can do, we do here is to get a file from a maliciousdomain.com. I have obfuscated it, of course, change the permissions, execute it, and then remove it. So that's why it was getting reinfected. So what do we have in this scenario, in this case, was a cron job install that was every time reinfected a website, converting it in a bot node, which was in contact with a hacker, bad guy, cyber terrorist dashboard somewhere, which was infecting it all the time. Okay, so this is the conclusion. It's okay? Any question?
So the website was completely over.
I don't know. Maybe the bad guy just decided to leave it to later. To, I don't know. For example, it's pretty common to find bot nodes just ready to use to attack a competitor product launch day. So you will get I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 of WordPress sites with a observability converted as a bot node, just attacking that website of your competitor. So you can find like that. So it depends on the person or the group which is behind, right?
But you can do anything.
Whatever. Anything what you want.
Thank you. Very interesting talk.
Just one moment, I give you the mic.
Hello. Can you reveal where the cron job was located? Was that in the root directory or somewhere else?
No, it was in the user one. So I mean, it's if you are used to share environments, you can have a cron tab for root, a cron tab from the user. In this case, was specific in that user. So hopefully, it haven't infected other sites. Just that one, because it has the cron job of that user, only permissions for that folder. So let me give some final advices. Yeah, after that, I don't want to scare you a lot. It can happen. It's important to install some proactive measures. So As I mentioned before, what we should try always is to reduce the surface of attack, right? So reduce admins, plugins, and themes. Try to apply the least privilege route. So only permissions to do what they have to do, not higher, okay? Use password manager, change periodically strong ones, that's very common. Have backups, but validate them. It's not that important to have a backup strategy if they are corrupted or they are not useful. Updates. Sorry for those guys that think, oh, but if I update the website, it can get down. The cost of a hacked site because you haven't applied update is way higher than some time down of your site, okay? Monitor your site using VP scan at your server, files integrity scanner, whatever. File integrity is super useful. In this case, for example, save it the day. And install a WAF. WAF, I put here like an umbrella because it's like an umbrella. I mean, it is, if you go out in a rainy day, you're not going to go out without any protection. So being inside, being online, being an internet is like going out in a rainy day. So you need an umbrella, at least to protect more or less the big part of the rain, right? So remember to invest in hosting, but also in security. It's important to get in our mind that the security should be by design in the very first step of our projects, always, not after something bad happened, which is normally happen. And let me just share with you that everybody needs hackers, and that's all, okay? Thank you. I don't know if you have time for questions. If you have questions as well.
Thank you very much. Yes, maybe we got some questions. Yes, here.
I forgot my question now. Yes, you mentioned the Web Application Firewall. I don't know what that is, so could you explain and maybe give an example or two?
Okay, I tried to mention that when I talk about the umbrella. I mean, in this case, normally a Web Application Firewall, there are two types. One of them are external, and one of them are internals. If you probably know Wordpress. Wordpress is a plugin for security in WordPress. They have a WAF, but this WAF will redirect your traffic to pass through their system of heuristic rules to check if there is something known that is malicious, okay? And if not, it just goes in the regular way to the WordPress files. But the internal firewalls has the problem that the resources used to analyze this traffic is inside your server. So it could raise a little bit the sources of your server. If you use an external WAF, you don't have this problem. The only problem is that you need to redirect the DNS because the traffic for the website has to pass through an external server. This external server will work as a washing tunnel, for the cars. It's the same. So all the traffic will go through, and it will be washed, and all the things that looks like something malicious will be dropped. So the connection will never hit your website or your server, and only those that have been found legit will hit your server. So the resources will be sensitivity lower than the internal WAF. So you can find both out there. It's okay?
Another question here.
Yeah, you said you have to validate the backups.
Yeah.
So do you have a tool to that, or?
Yeah, there are some tools about that, but I think the very best one is just download one, try in a virtual machine or in your local one or whatever, and try that you can decompress it, you can check all the files and so on. That's my best advice. But there are some tools out there.
I'm sure there is plenty of questions because security is a very big topic, but we need to stop now and go to the next talk. So thank you very much one more time.
Thank you to you.
Merci beaucoup.